Well, hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, YouTube, everywhere this clip is going to go live or recorded. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. So, welcome to the broadcast, everybody. We are getting, as the title says, back on track. When you basically take a vacation, when your girlfriend took a vacation from work, and now you're getting back on track with all the stuff that you need to do, all the artwork that you've been putting behind, getting, behind on. And now it's time to get back on track, get things back up and running the way they're supposed to be, and moving and grooving, as we like to say periodically. But welcome to the show, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. And welcome in. Oh, just scared somebody off. No, I didn't want to push that button. I didn't want to be here live. Ah, I'm gonna run away. Run away. Oh, speaking of behind, I am behind on my Antarctic Press recordings. I got to get those going. Got to get those back up and grooving, and get those back on track because I am now. How many behind are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 behind. So I haven't recorded any of those here lately. But it's time to get back on track on those as well. So this whole show is getting back on track. How do you get back on track whenever you say take a vacation or procrastinate about things? How do you get back on track? Me, just do it. I just jump back in, full fledged, full throttle, and let's go. Because I'm working on a children's book with a buddy of mine who's doing a book on his life, and he is working on this book, and he has asked me to do the artwork, front and back covers right now, um, potentially the insides as well. But he's going to start it out as a chapter book right off the bat, and go from there and move forward. We are going to just make it a great little thing. Again, it's a story of his life. He's a boxer, and he is putting it out there. It's going to be a 3-issue book series that he's creating, and we are in the process of book 1. Got another friend who we are wanting to do a horror western together, and he's procrastinating a little bit because he is a movie producer, and he is promoting his new movie, Forest Through the Trees, which you can find on Amazon Prime. And so we're putting that on a little bit of a hold, if you will. And from there, I've got my own projects working on, my own comic book that I'm in the works of. But I'm only 18 pages in on book 1 of the 4-issue miniseries. And so there's a lot of things that have to get back on track, which includes ordering in shirts for my company. This is my American Horror shirt. If you want one of these, you can order up. So we got American Horror. We got Chester Bennington, based off of my paintings and my artwork. Right here. You can get one of those. This week, I should be getting a Wonder Woman shirt in. Got the Joker coming in. Or not coming in, but if you want to order this one, this was my very first painting of the Joker. To go with my other painting, which is this one right here, which I do have shirts available on this one as we speak. But this one is the number 2. This was actually the first one that actually sold the actual painting on. It's hanging in a friend's office. And then I've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, right here. As well as, I should put these two together, Ivan Moody of Five Finger Death Punch. This was a painting I did for the girlfriend's mother, because she's a big Five Finger Death Punch fan, Ivan Moody fan. Duck of the Marvel Universe. If you see anything you like, hit me up. We got Dexter Morgan with Dexter Resurrection on right now on Showtime and Paramount Plus. Art the Clown, if you're into some horror. The Crow, my take on the Brandon Lee, and I threw in a little bit of homage to Mr. James O'Barr, who I know, who I bought original artwork. Can I get one for free? No. Here's the Wonder Woman shirt that's coming in this week, so I'll be able to show it to you once it does come in. What is today? Today is the 15th. It's supposed to be here possibly by tomorrow. But this is the Wonder Woman shirt that's coming in. And then my Bad Habits right here. Based on my Naughty Nun series, the Bad Habits right there. Yes, they are huge. But so was the model. There you go. All right. So, getting back on track with everything. That means I've got to get back on track with all of my. I make shirts too and want to show my designs. Well, you can send me some because in the comments and stuff like that, you can send some in. I don't know about here, but I will check out your stuff, you know, and we will see what you got. And it's cool that you make shirts. I'm not muted. Well, it could be that I'm not on my Wi-Fi. See if that helps any better. Right there. And there we go. I can't hear what's happening there. I can only hear what's happening over here. I can see all your comments. So, well, my side over here is showing that I'm good. Even my product is for my Arlo cameras and stuff like that, my Arlo Wi-Fi and stuff like that, showing that I'm good. That my line is going out good. So, yeah, I sure am. Oh my goodness. So, anyway, getting back on track. I have been slacking on a few things here and there as I get my. Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad you liked that laugh. The Antarctic Press stuff I've been behind on, and I'm not wanting to be behind on it because every Friday there's a new drop. So that means in a couple of days, on the 18th, a day after my next show of this week, we are going to be getting a new drop from Antarctic Press, which Mr. Ben Dunn is a pretty cool dude. And he keeps sending them to me, even though I haven't sent him a new link to my YouTube channel where I drop all of my Antarctic Press reviews of their comic books. And he's an awesome dude. If you haven't met Mr. Ben Dunn, go do it. And go follow Antarctic Press as well. They've got a lot of cool titles, just like Tomorrow Girl, 15 to cover. And then I've got Tomorrow Girl not versus, but meets Atomic Mouse, which is very cool. And then I've got Innkeeper, and then I've got Tibby and her time traveling psychedelic mushrooms. That one's a fun one. If you like big cannons, that one's got some in there as well. So, yeah. But now, no, we're getting back on track. We got new artwork coming up right now. Right here. Some new artwork sketched out that I'm working on. It is a character development with two different characters from a video game platform, God of War. And so there is that. Now, with that being said, how do you get back on track whenever you take a vacation or you step back away from something for a while? You know, me, like I said, I just jump right back into it and just start running and gunning. I don't even look back at that point in time. But I know some people, it takes time to warm back up, you know, and which is understandable because it's just like after you take a vacation, do you really want to go back to work? No. My girlfriend is encountering that right now as she doesn't want to be back at work as she went back today. And she's, you know, like she said, it took everything it took or had in her body not to call in and be like, no, I'm not coming in today. I still got some recovering. Well, thank you, Molly, and welcome, and thank you for being on the broadcast. As she said, in case no one told you today, I'm proud of you. Find a reason to smile today and have a great day. So there you go. There are positive influences out there. And then you get other people that are like um, special. This is the only word I can actually say on here without getting a violation, you know. So, but getting back on track with all kinds of different things, sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's hard to get back on track and and get back into the groove of what you do. Um, like I said, me, luckily it's pretty easy to just jump back in and go because this is what I do. I do artwork all day long and I homestead, you know. So that means I'm doing artwork and I'm also taking care of animals throughout the day. And I'm pretty much home most of the time. And it, you know, for me that works. I'm a disabled veteran and so, you know, I get that luxury of being able to sit at home and tend to animals and manicure the lawn and chop down a tree here and there and work on my garden and things of that nature. Whereas I know a lot of people don't get that opportunity to do those type of things. And but you do have those people that can do that because hey, they are well off and can do that type of stuff. Now here, we're not that well off. No, the money comes in and things like that, and artwork sells. Just doesn't sell as fast as I would like it to sell, you know. But it sells when it needs to, and that's why we have a big sale going on right now of my artwork. I've got to get those videos posted over here, but I've got 3 portfolios worth of artwork, two in the 11 by 15 range on 140 pound cardstock, and then I've got 9 by 12s on 140 pound cardstock as well. And so all of that stuff is up for grabs for those that are interested. And a lot of my artwork can be found on my website. If you haven't followed my website up here already, please go do so. You can find it up there in my profile, and from there you can get some artwork. Now I don't have it where you can buy it directly from the website, so you can just hit me up on any of my socials and or messages, and we can talk, you know, about all of that good stuff. So there you go. But no, I am working on, you know, some new pieces right now while I'm waiting for some answers on the other side for the look of the character that I'm developing with uh, my friend on his kid book. And so from there, we are in the process of, you know, making some things great in his little kid book that he's got going on. It's a 7 by 10 page book is what he's gonna, or chapter book is what he's starting out with first, and from there we are going to do a lot of cool stuff. And you know, if he likes it enough, I will be the one continuing on with the rest of his book series because it's a 3 book series for his life in the boxing world is what it's based on, which is awesome and very cool. but it's getting back on track with everything that I've got sitting in front of me. Again, working on character development for my own comic books, character development for a friend's comic book, the horror western, and then working on a family portrait of a animal that's passed away on an 8x10 canvas, and then working on these collaborations with the mind of another friend of mine who has 3 commissions waiting to be done up by me. One is a massive 18x24 on 140-pound cardstock paper, and then 2 9x12s as well, going on with Kingdom Hearts and Blade Runner collaboration there, and and then I've got a war with 2 of the main bad characters in there, the Dreki and the Wolver. We're amalgamating them together, So it's very cool stuff that we're working on over here right now. And I just showed the picture of what my rendition is so far before the amalgamation of the 2. I can't say they're the main characters, but they're minor characters that show up in God of War on a regular basis. So it is kind of cool to do stuff like this because he's got his vision. I've got a vision for it as well. And so I'm going to be putting both on the same sheet of paper. I've got his vision for front and center, and then my vision will be in the background. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be cool. I like it already. And so, that's just how things come together. But like I said, it's getting back on track with everything, and that's everything. Getting back on track. That is from the Antarctic Press stuff to getting stuff ordered for the business for the upcoming 2026 season. Just left and right. All kinds of stuff that we need to get done and out there. And it's just, sometimes you let it build for so long. I mean, we're already halfway through the year, and I've only got a few things for the 2026 season in house, which means I don't have all the prints I want yet. I don't have all the t-shirts I want yet. I don't have all the 11x17 prints, the canvas prints, my table cover, so stuff like that. I don't even like Lamar Jackson. And so, no, I will not be covering my camera for a Lamar Jackson edit. But getting back on track, sometimes it takes a lot of people, or some people, a long time to get back on track with certain things. And it's just one of those things. But me, like I said, I just jump right back into it and go headlong and drown myself in my project sometimes. And from there, I just go full tilt because why not? This is what I do, for the first X amount of hours of the day, whatever time I get up, which is usually before 4 o'clock. I get in there and I go from 4 o'clock until, say, 9 or 10, until the girlfriend comes home for lunch. We eat lunch together. I come back in here. Um, Now, that being said, roughly about 7 to 7:30, I let the birds out so they can free range. I let the pigs outside so they can do their thing. And then I come back in here and then do my stuff artwork wise. Wait for the girlfriend to get home, eat lunch together. She goes back to work. I come back in here, do more artwork until she gets off at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And so then at that point in time, then we spend more time together. We actually entertain every now and again uh, friends and family that come by, that stop by. And so today is going to be one of those days where we are doing that. So that's how I get back on track. When I procrastinated or taken a vacation because the girlfriend was off for 11 days, so that means I was kind of off for 11 days, even though I was still doing a few things here and there. I just wasn't doing as much as I normally would be if she was um, at work. So there you go. Now, how do you get back on track? You guys haven't told me how you get back on track. After taking a small vacation or just procrastinating, you know. And like I said, I've procrastinated long enough on the Antarctic Press stuff, which is stuff like this, the Tomorrow Girl number 14, and some of the other titles out there that they've got that I've got to get back on track with. Because I do have, like I said, five. Is it five? Did I say five? One, two, three, four, five. Yeah. With Tomorrow Girl 14 and 15 out there. Three Tomorrow Girls, a Innkeeper, and a Tibby is what I've got to cover. And so that's pretty cool stuff. But I'm going to get back on track with that. I'm not saying I'm going to do it today, but I'll probably do it tomorrow on my off day because I only go live every other day here on TikTok, which means I go live every other day here on Facebook and YouTube as well. And so there we go. But I look forward to it, to getting back on track with everything, like I said, including all of the new stuff for the business, for 412 Productions. Since this is our rebuild year, and we are in the process of, we revamped the entire company as we moved forward with life. And so, you know, it is one of those things that it takes time to build your stock. Now, I've got plenty of original artwork to sell, so I could just take all that to a convention right now and be okay. But people like their prints, people like their shirts, people like their stickers and their magnets and things of that nature. So those are some other aspects that I've got to look at getting made up as well. Are some more stickers and some more. But I'm not just going to do any type of sticker. I'm going to do, you know, the 4-inch stickers from now on. Because anything below 4 inches just is, it's just not even worth it. Because you're paying practically the same price for a 4-inch sticker that you are for, oh, excuse me, for a, let's say, a 2-inch sticker or a 1 3/4 inch sticker or whatever. So you might as well just go full tilt and do a 4-inch sticker and be done with it. Because a 4-inch sticker is pretty good size. It's a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger than these cards. These cards are 3.5 inches. So there you go. But yeah, so getting back on track with everything, and that includes my own ghost hunts at my own house, because you know we have. I do live in a haunted house. For those of you that don't know, that haven't heard my story before, we have all kinds of things happen here in the house on a regular basis. That is unexplained, but that's cool, and we like it. Well, I do anyway. The girlfriend gets frustrated every now and again with it, but she just tells it to leave her alone, and it pretty much listens. The activity calms down with the paranormal stuff, and she tells it to bug off, and it does for a while, but then it comes back full tilt, with some poltergeist activity or moving things about, in the house. So there you go. But it's all cool. We've lived with it for this long. I've lived with it for since 2022, the end of 2022. I think it was August that I finally got into the house. So, but yeah, it is one thing after another here in this house. Just cleaned all the window AC units in the front room and the bedroom because, they were caked up with gunk. And it's not even a year's worth of gunk, is what you say, because you don't run your air conditioner all year round. Now, some people do. Some people run it in conjunction with their heater, which kind of defeats the purpose. But you know, that's them, not me. Well, we'll turn the AC unit off and not even run the heater until late into December sometimes, depending on the temperatures as they go. So, speaking of, what is the temperature outside right now? I don't know. There it is, 75 degrees. Okay, that's not bad. That's not horrible. I'm only asking because I've got chickens outside, you know, and they're baby chicks. They're not the ones that are enough to sustain a 75-degree temperature, you know. So we're acclimating them to the outside world with the temperatures and things like that. So they huddle together with the turkey. So there you go. Yes, I homestead. I do artwork. I do reviews for comic books. So if you do have a comic book out there and you want it reviewed, hit me up. We will talk about your comic book. So, what do you do whenever you try to get back on track? That's what the question is today. Getting back on track. How do you get back on track after a vacation, after procrastinating, all those good things? That's what we're talking about today. And like I said, I just jump right back into it. Full tilt, go and go some more. Because why not? There's a lot of things that you can do to not fall back into that trap of, oh, well, I'm falling behind, so I'm just going to sit here and do nothing, you know, and continue to do nothing. Or I'm just going to scroll on my phone and look at all my social medias, and that's all I do. Or, oh, this new game came out, and I'm going to play it on my phone and try to win some money. Well, you could be actually making some money if you were, selling stuff on eBay or selling stuff on Mercari or selling stuff that you got sitting around your house that you don't use, anymore. Like a car that I've got sitting out here that I'm going to be selling off, because a big old branch went through the windshield and destroyed the gear shift on it. I was going to fix it back up and resell it, but that went out the window as soon as that big old branch fell through the window and took out the gear shift. So, welcome to the show, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, and we are talking artwork, we are talking homesteading, and we are talking what do you do to get back on track whenever you go on a vacation or just procrastinate on stuff that you need to get done. So, there you have it. That's how I get back on track. And I don't know about you guys, what you guys do to get back on track out there. But hopefully, you can give some other people some pointers on how to get back on track with certain things on their agenda and their to-do list. So, what is up, Casey? Welcome to the broadcast channel. We're talking about getting back on track whenever you take some time away from doing certain things, So how has your life been here lately, buddy? Hopefully you're still living the dream and doing good. Hopefully you can hear me. Some people said I was glitching, which was wrong. He was just being a jerk. And you might be reading all the old comments. There's only a few out there. People haven't been too active today. I'm good to see you're not bad, and good morning to you as well. And of course, I always wonder about people out there on a regular basis, especially those that interact with me on any point in time. You know, um, throughout the broadcast, or even if they reach out to me via message. Unless it's the spam bots. You know, those girls looking for love there. Oh, those kill me. And then it always turns into oh, I want to be your sugar mommy, but it's going to cost you, $50 to get on my whatever list. It's like, take a hike, get out of here. I got a business to run. So there you go. But yes, no, the whole getting back on track things is one of those things that sometimes it can be hard to get back on track when it comes to taking some time away from everything. And just like I took a little bit of a hiatus from everything when the girlfriend went on vacation for her 11-day stint from work for her birthday week, and so from there I kind of let things go a little bit farther behind than I wanted to. Just like my Antarctic press recordings, just like some artwork that I should have already had done, you know. But now I'm getting back on track, throwing myself full tilt back into it all, and just working my fingers to the bone, if you will. But that's what I do. That's how I get back on track. And that's the question out there. How do you get back on track whenever you take some time away from something? And haven't had any answers yet. So there you go. I'm waiting for some answers to come in. But thank you for the love out there on the likes. Casey, I appreciate it. I know your fingers probably get tired from hitting the like button, or this finger. I don't know which one you use on that to do the likes. But you're up to probably like 20,000 likes on a broadcast. You know, I don't see how many are here. I do on the backside. So clicker, not tapping. Well, that's good. I'm glad you got a clicker for all that, because I got another buddy who's not here either, Mr. Roy, who I think you might have interacted with him before on the show. Roy Joe Bradley Jr. He uses his thumb, and he tells me how he gets a cramp in his thumb on occasion as he's doing the whole like button out there. So there you go. But now it's getting back on track when it comes to you know not doing the work that you should be doing can be a killer. It can uh, make you unmotivated because you're like, well, damn, now I've got way too many things to be doing and I've procrastinated for too long. How am I going to get caught back up? You know, that's cool. This is auto, just clip and it works. See, there you go. You're learning some things to people out there. So that's awesome. And it helps the engagement out here. Just like when people share the broadcast out there as well, uh, their friends can come over and check out what you're checking out. So now some people might think it's completely boring because it's chitty chat. There's nothing happening, nothing going on, you know. And then I'll flip out a picture like this and be like, this is what I'm working on right now. This is a character design right there, all those goody good things. And so and then people are like, oh, there is some stuff going. You don't get people to last very long. You get most of the time, most people will last on a broadcast unless, you know, the person is scantily clad on the other end, which obviously I am not, and I'm not built for that either. Um, most people will sit there and then they will watch those broadcasts. That's how those creators get their thousands upon thousands of tens of thousands of views, you know. But and I guess I can just get me a cutout back here or display um, this one behind me on a regular basis, and maybe I'll get the views, out there, so that people will stick around for. Yeah, and so it's sad but true. You know, that's the sad reality is that people will sit there and watch. Well, it's not so much short attention spans. It's just that, you know, I don't have TNA hanging out. So that is what people are sticking around for on a lot of other broadcast channels. And here we talk about artwork, we talk about homesteading, we talk about you know comic book movies, horror movies, sci-fi movies, all the cool stuff. And some people just don't like that. Some people aren't into that, even though we are under a fandom title. Maybe I need to change my title up to something different. Like I'm not sure what the other fandoms or what the other titles are out there that I could be under. I don't know if I lure them or not, but because the shows have been low here lately, and which is fine because on average, I'm getting anywhere between 9 to 10,000 views on my live shows, throughout the week. And for some people, they're like, that's pretty low. I get about 30 to 40, per week. Yeah, and cool, good for you, you know. But I am not one of those TikTokers that does all of your little challenges with all the voiceovers and things like that. I do my own voiceovers because I am a voice actor. I am an actor as well. You know, I've been in a few local productions. I am a voice for a Power Ranger bad guy. You and so Mr. Champ is his name. Now he doesn't make it past the first episode of this series that this producer is doing, but that's cool. I've got other voice options out there as well for them, so that's pretty cool. And I can find some other voice acting gigs out there as well as I move forward. Now, is this something I want to do on a permanent basis? Maybe. Who knows? You know, if opportunity arises, sure, why not? You know, but it's not something that I'm going out there actively seeking a role for at this point in time. Only because I've got so many other things to do, you know, with the artwork that's building up over here, with the homestead, with, you know, making sure that the house is run on an even keel. But it's all about how do you get back on track, with it all. And so it's just like if you get into an argument with your boyfriend or girlfriend, you know, how do you get back on track after that argument? Those type of things. So, how do you get back on track? Say you have taken time away from something and then you come back in and boom, how do you get back on track? You And with the brilliance, I don't know about all the brilliance on the broadcast channel because I'm just raw with it all. I'll tell you how it is or what I think about something. It's just like the Antarctic Press. I don't like everything that they do. There's artwork in there that is mediocre at best. But yet, kudos to them for finding a platform inside of Antarctic Press in one of their other books. You know, and that's what I like about Antarctic Press is because they do some cool stuff and they introduce some new artists and things of that nature, and it's just kind of cool. Even though you've got characters that resemble other people's characters, like this one that I just saw. There's a Kingpin type character in there, so very clever there, Tim. Good job. So, but Casey, how do you get back on track whenever you step away from something for a little bit and then come back to it? How do you get back on track? Inquiring minds want to know. It's funny. Yes, no, I get it. It's clever, and it's one of those that have been out there for a while. That little joke, but seriously, good job, Tim. People will read that and then they will use it from now on. Remember the commercial of the girl with the brilliant personality? I just start again, dive in. With the brilliant personality. I've probably seen the commercial you're talking about, Casey, but I can't pull it up out in my data bank of all the stuff that I've seen over the years. So you might have to remind me of which one that is. Oh, Tim. We'll get you some Laffy Taffy jokes off of the little Laffy Taffy bars, and have you some bad dad jokes. Uh, oh boy, you sound like a friend of mine. She loves to tell dad jokes, and some of them are really bad. Drawn School of Business. I don't guess I've seen that one. That one's new to me. Yeah. No, I get it. It's a commercial. I just don't remember that one. And we've got to think that we're in two different areas as well. So the commercials do are different. Now, not all the commercials are different, but a lot of commercials are different. So that one I might not have seen. I can probably find it online if I go look for it. She had no skills, but a brilliant personality. I gotcha. So you're saying I have no skills? No, I get that, But once she took that school of the school that she was in, that she got skills, and then it was with her brilliant personality. She had both. I'm guessing is where that commercial is going, if I had to guess. And since I haven't seen that commercial, good pun on that one. Better than the other guy. So, then a skill shawl. Well, I appreciate that. I really do. But yeah, no, I can imagine. No, I get you. I get you. I understood what you were talking about. It's just funnier with the skill. It sounds like you got a lisp there, a skill shawl. It's cuter that way. But no, it's procrastination needs to be thrown out the window for a lot of things for you to get back on track because you can continue to fall into the same habits over and over again. And so, you know, that's why whenever I do procrastinate and get behind, I just throw myself full throttle back into the artwork, so that I can start getting it done, finished, taken care of. And for me, it's more enjoyable that way sometimes, uh, because, like I said, I've let these things build up for far too long. I could have been doing two or three drawings at the same time, but I was focusing so much on the one, to get it exactly right for him, for his book, for his kids' book, for his chapter books, um, that I was just letting everything else build up behind it, you know. And now it's like, well, I've waited too long on all of it, so I need to get in it, get them started, and you know, two of them will be simple to basically get done. One's going to take a little bit more time because it's a grander scale, so that means more detail inside on it. And so that's just getting back on track with everything. And then, of course, the family portrait that passed away for the pet that passed away, um, because people think of their dogs as their children sometimes. Um, that one's going to be a little bit more detailed. Plus, I hate drawing hair, especially when it comes to painting hair. There's tips and tricks to do and use whenever I do it, but hair is one of the worst things to paint, for me anyway. That's why I've learned tips and tricks of how to do it a little easier. Whereas you take an actual hair and lightly dip it in paint and just start dabbing it on the painting where the hair is, and it gives those nice little curls and lines and things like that. Now you can do the same effect with a paintbrush, a really fine paintbrush, which I've got several of those running around here as well, which means they've got like 1 to 2 hairs on the brush only, you know, and so we use those as well. Now make sure this is still working. Yes, it's still got a green light, and lots of artwork up for sale. And just remember that, as I do have a big sale going on all of my originals that I've got in house right now. Please like, share, and follow, just like Mr. Casey is liking this broadcast all over the place, since he's got a special little click thing going on there, which is awesome. I do appreciate the likes. That does help push this out there in the algorithms and all of that good stuff, so that people can see it, get interacting with it, and all of that good stuff. So that's awesome. But like I said, this is a channel for fandom. It is for different fandoms, from comic books to action figures to movies, especially horror, sci-fi, comic book related. Uh, don't really talk about the drama. We talk about the action, the thrillers, those type of things. Drama is for the Hallmark Channel, all that good stuff. I know there's some decent dramas out there when it comes to movies and things like that, but that's not really my forte. Now the girlfriend does get tired of horror movies, on a regular basis. So that's why I have a TV in here. I can throw on an old horror movie that I know back and forth, front to back, and just put it on for background noise and go about my day. Now, if there is one that I haven't seen, I will stop and watch a little scenes here and there, but then get back to the work. So, I'm ready for the rain to end. That's for sure. We've had another few days of rain, which is keeping the rivers up here. Now it's not like other places that are flooding and things like that. So, and hearts and thoughts go out to those, prayers and good vibes, because there's so many people that have lost a lot out there. That is life as well. And then, I've got my nephew out there down in Texas who is helping do recovery and rescue with the Air Force and local law enforcement down there. So he's doing the best that they can to help recover and rescue, as the case may be. So, they're having to go back and cover other ground as well, just because all the mud has layered things up. So, it's making it difficult to find things. And what I mean by that, you know what I mean by that. And so, it was just like us in Katrina, where we were having to go into different places trying to recover what we could of family members and things of that nature. So, same difference. This is just on it was a grand scale for Katrina back in, 05 as well. And so, just thoughts and prayers goes out to Texas right now and other parts that are flooding and where people have lost their lives. because it's not cool in any stretch of the imagination. Um, I just don't know, how prepared people were for any of it, as far as the flood waters and things like that, because you can never really be ready 100% for anything that happens in life. But there's preventatives you can take. You know, that's why I've got MREs just in case we do lose power. Hey, I can still cook. You know, I've got uh, I've got different methods on how to cook. Heck, charcoal is one of the greatest methods of how to cook. Charcoal and wood. There you go. You know, so if we ever do lose power, I'm good for a few days anyway. Until all the meat disappears out of the freezer or stuff like that. But then we resort to other things. I've got animals on the farm. You know, which they excuse me, which those animals aren't to eat right now. Those are our egg producers and things of that nature. So there you go. But no, getting back on track is just one of those things that you just got to take the time and work your way through how you want to get back on track with certain things. That's life included. Because you can get so far afield from where you want to be that it's just time to clamp down and then get stuff back on track. That could be finances. That could be um, yard work. That could be, uh, I was going to say tree trimming, but that falls under yard work. Just like bushes fall under yard work. There's lots of things in life that you can get back on track on if you want to get back on track with. You can focus. You can streamline how things go for you. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just fly by the seat of their cuff because as I've seen the comment out there, it's only money. You can't take it with you. All those good things. And it's just like, well, what? I mean, that's a good point. You can't take it with you. Just like all the stuff you collect over the years, you can't take it with you. It's going to go to somebody, you know, or it's going to go to the state, you know, in some auction, especially if you don't have a last will and testament, those type things. So I've been trying to get my mom to get her will and testament all lined out, you know. No U-Hauls behind hearses, amen. Now I have seen the extremes where people have actually bought rail cars or um, the big container units and things like that, and had all their stuff put inside of them, inside of there with their casket and buried with them, because that was in their last will and testament. All their earthly possessions is going with them. So basically they just created a time capsule for somebody to open up later. you know, so but no, my stuff will go somewhere. No telling where it's gonna go. So, but and it's not like I'm leaving this earthly coil soon, but you never know. Knocking on the live edge here. Um, just because tomorrow is not promised. Let's put it that way, as we've talked about before. So I could walk outside and get hit by a tractor, you know, since I do live in the country. I do. I mean, I do have a main road right here in front of my house, but um, so anything could happen. A plane could fall on my house because I live right here by the air base, Fort Chaffee, and they do maneuvers on a regular basis with their planes. Uh, a stray rocket from one of the howitzers could go the wrong direction, because of the idiot they're operating it. You would hope not, but you know, I do live that close to the army base or to the Fort Chaffee. It's not just army; everybody uses it. from the Marines to Air Force. The only ones that I don't think use it is Navy. But anything can happen. Stray bullets from over there. Ricocheting off things. Many different things. Hasn't happened yet in the 3+ years that I've lived here. But again, tomorrow's not promised to any of us. So get your life back on track now, folks. And if you're partying it up, because hey, I can't take it with me, so I got to do something with it. That's a good mentality to have. But that pickling of that liver might have a longevity effect. I don't know. And they don't have just 3D printed livers out there yet. Um, I'm sure they're working on it, just like hearts and lungs and other things that people are starting to use 3D printers for. And I saw somebody had one for sale that they wanted $3,000 for because it's a massive monstrosity. The thing can print a literal kayak, in 3 parts. And it's just like, holy shit. I mean, they had it on the the flat portion of a big U-Haul truck, style, one of those rental trucks, and it was just like, holy smokes, where would I even put that thing? Because it would be cool. You could do life size, prints of things, 3D prints, because that would be awesome. Life size busts of things, all in one go. But I mean, I'm content with my little one over here. I'm looking to get some more, some different sizes, so I can do different prints of things. But I'm still trying to master this one because it still doesn't want to print certain things. So I need a new designer body. Young Elvis version. Can it print that? I mean, it could. It would just take it a while because especially if you want the life size version, um, I can only do certain things with mine. Now that one could do a complete life size young Elvis version, no issues. It might have to do it in 2 prints, like the lower torso and the upper torso, but it could do it in in 2 separate prints. So now articulation might be a little different. It can't hurt as bad as the one I have. I understand that. I get that, especially from your point of view on that side. You know, um, and I hate that for you. I really do, just because I know it sucks. And but we can work on articulation on the other one. Because it would be just like an action figure body in reality. Um, Now they are making leaps and strides on the robotics industry. I don't know if you saw the one in China right now that is um, basically like a high schooler. It's got its backpack on, its ball cap on, and it's running around like an actual kid. You I'm assuming pretty soon that they might be able to put the human conscience into that, and I guess that's a way for you to live forever at that point in time. But I just don't know how much of the human conscience would actually go into the workings of the android, you know, of the robot. I know we've seen movies on it all through our lives, where they've transferred the essence of the human into the the being itself, the robot or the computer or whatever. Just like Max Headroom or X Files had a couple of episodes like that. Um, and you know, could it be reality in the next few years? It's very possible. Hook me up, Scotty. No, I get it. Um, because I mean, it could be a reality in the next few days. Who knows? Um, I don't know what their limitations are on taking the essence of man. into a robot. And I'm not just talking about man, I'm talking about mankind in general, man, woman, child, those type of things. Um, we could see leaps and bounds here in the next few years because according to all the movies, we're supposed to be already having flying cars, you know, because I think the Jetsons were set in this now, whenever it was made. So it's like, well, where are these flying cars? Where is all this automation that we're supposed to have right now that's supposed to make life so much easier to where, basically you just kick back and hit a button and everything's done for you? We're close. We're not there yet. And so, you know, it's just one of those things. How close to the movie versions are we in this life? I would love to see transporters happen in my lifetime, just like on Star Trek, you know, because how cool would that be? I want to go to Hawaii. Well, pay your price on your machine and boom, boom, you just went to Hawaii. I want to go to Madrid. Oh, pay your price on your machine, boom, hit the button. Oh, you're in Madrid. You know, where we just don't have it yet. No, we don't. And, transporters would be the most awesome thing in the world at this point in time. And I know at one point in time that they were actually trying to make it a reality. I don't know if they've stopped on it. I haven't heard any more about it. And it was just like the movies that you saw where they were putting laser beams into. They started out with fruits and it would just blow them up. But then they finally got to the point where it would take it and move it to another platform, those type of things. And then they started doing it with animals, and then things went awry, you know. So turned it inside out, the animal, those type of things. So, and I know that that stuff is based off of reality, in a sense too. So I'm just wondering how close we are to certain things, because a transporter unit would be awesome. Instead of having to drive 400 miles, you're transported within seconds, you know, from point A to point B. Now, it would kind of like be like the TSA, I guess, because you'd have to have an operator to go through the machine and have somebody meet you on the other side, you know. Yeah, a time machine would be cool. Go back and slap my younger self around a little bit. Be like, listen, you little punk. This is what you're going to invest in. You're going to do better in school. Oh, thank you. I couldn't have gotten away without having that show up there. TikTok. This is what you're going to invest in. You're going to do better in school. You're going to go to a real college after high school. You're going to stand up to your coach and tell him, do not put you on the football line. Yes, it would change everything in the now, correct. And sometimes I think that's okay, you know? Uh, but then on the other side, too, it's just like, well, then you wouldn't have the kids you had, and so on and so forth, yada, yada, yada. And then you would go back and tell, you know, your sister not to be driving on this particular night because you're going to get killed, those type of things. Um, but yeah, no, there's lots of things that you can go back and change, but then it changes everything in today's perspective. So, but who knows? Could have been for the better, could have been for the worse. It's just like, well, had I gone in, done things differently, and not had the family I had now, would there be the tragedy that befell, you know, later on? You know, like we talked about my son passing, in '09. Just after graduating high school, and had his life in front of him, but it was cut short at 17. You know, could we have changed that circumstance? You know, but had I changed my younger days circumstances, well, would I have had the family, that same family, you know, those type things. So I have seen and heard different things about that. Yes, it's just like the Simpsons. How do they get their predictions right? Go watch the Simpsons all over again because they've gotten so many predictions right. It's scary, you know. So yes, Baron. But if you want some Nostradamus type stuff, go watch The Simpsons. You know, but they're 90%. Yes, yes, he did. Yes, Mr. Elon. But yeah, the Simpsons have some scary predictions that, you know, I just still it still baffles everybody right now how they get it so correct. Mr. Kirk Holt is in the house, and he's never seen The Simpsons. But they've got some scary good predictions out there, and even TikTokers talk about it, you know, um, from time to time. And welcome to the broadcast, Mr. Kirk. Oh, he has the Nikolai Tesla papers. Well, that's cool. And that Tesla guy, not the other Tesla guy, not the current owner of Tesla. Uh, what's been going on in your world, Mr. Holt, Mr. Kirk Holt? How do you get back on track? That's the title of today's program. How do you get back on track whenever you've taken a vacation or just procrastinated on things? The first Tesla guy. Yes. I got you, Mr. Casey. And Kirk, which shirt do you want? Do you still want the Joker one based off of this painting, like the shirts I've already got going on? Not the one I'm wearing because that's not my design. This one's my design. You need to make your decision, man. You need to make your decision. I got the Wonder Woman shirt coming in this week. Hopefully, it arrives today or tomorrow. It's supposed to be here today or tomorrow. So, Joe, very cool. I didn't know about Tesla before Tesla. That's okay. I mean, a lot of people didn't know about Benjamin Franklin and the kite with the key on it. Trying to get electricity. Um, but no, that's cool. And but no, Tesla with his Tesla coil, uh, way back in the day, was very cool. Thanos is your guy. That's cool. I've got the very first appearance of Thanos sitting over here, um, which is very cool in Iron Man number 55, I believe. I could be wrong on the number. I've got it here somewhere. I think I've got it right here with my Hulk 181. And that's all my Aaron Press titles. I don't see it right here. He's here somewhere. I just don't know where I put him. Boom, boom, boom. But yes, the very first appearance of Thanos, I do have. He's just not right here. He's in another stack somewhere else. I just don't know where I put him. It was signed by Jim Shooter. It was very cool. Or not Jim Shooter. Jim Starlin, the creator. You are an Edison fan, lol. Oh, yeah, comic books. Yes, comic books all day long. I'll be back. Okay, Casey. Um, this is my cover to the job 3 right here, based off the painting that I did for the company, Legacy Comics, right here. Bum, bum, bum. It's about I think Point Break meets wrestling, and you will have your concept there. But yes, Ben, we do comic books here. That's what we talk about most of the time because we do comic book style artwork uh, from pretty much everything, every aspect, every point that you can find. We talk about it, we do it, we draw it, and I do work in the industry, not the big industry of Marvel, DC, or Image, but I have had my hands in a few different comic books so far. Independent comic books like Legacy Comics here with The Job, and then William Russell's Psycho Sal #3. So that's my lot in life so far, is to do the third issue of the comics that people already have out there to do their variant covers for those books. So, but there you go. So what's been going on in your world, Mr. Holt? We need to talk. We need to talk. We haven't talked on the phone in a while. Oh, let's see here. I'm trying to see what new stuff we got going on here besides you know the whole artwork realm of the new characters that I'm working on right now, and um, paintings and artwork that's up for sale right now at a discounted price because it's time to get it out of my hands. I've had it for far too long. My 3 portfolios worth of work right now is up for grabs on sale. Paintings are on sale right now that I've got. Um, they're probably about, I can't remember the exact percentage off that they are, but it's a big discount. So if you're interested, let me know on those. But I've still got your order waiting, Mr. Holt, on what you told me the original time. So I don't know if we are still on for that because I know you said you wanted to look at what else I was producing. So, well, please do. You can send it at any time. You can call at any time as well. There ain't no. I just never know whenever you're working. That's the thing, you know, um, because you've got a lot more fingers in the fire than I do. So, but yes, um, because you wanted from that Joker one that I've got made up, you wanted a medium and 2 larges, I believe, is the aspect there on those. And so I didn't know if that still held true or not. So I haven't put them into order yet. So, you know, I was making sure. Sold. All right. Sounds good. Well, you know how to make the payment. It's still there, still available. So just let me know, and we'll go from there. But um, but yeah, no, everything's on sale right now as far as the original images, the artwork that I've got, the original paintings and things like that. All those are on sale at this current juncture. We are going to be doing a whole lot of cool stuff when it comes to again getting back into the scene of the comic book world with the comic book conventions and stuff like that in 2026. I am looking for 3-day shows. They are a little bit more lucrative than just the 2-day shows. Now, saying that, there are some 2-day shows that are very lucrative. And welcome back, Mr. Casey. And so, on that note, um, we are looking for 3-day shows for comic book conventions just because they are better with the whole setup. That way, you're not rushed in a sense. Um, because the shows kick off Friday afternoon until Sunday, and and they're just nicer. You make more money there, at those shows. Now, like I said, there was a 2-day show in Jonesboro that I made a killing at because you sell 5 original paint or images, or 5 original drawings. at a show, that's a great day. So that just paid for your whole trip basically. And that's the type of shows you want to hit on a regular basis. And sometimes it's very hit or miss because there are a lot of talented people out there that you can't say in competition with, but because your artwork should stand alone on its own. And but the biggest killer is people go there for a specific thing, to meet the guest artists that are there, not artists, but the guest actors and things like that, the old wrestlers and things like that. And so that's where they go first, and then they go to the vendor spots to get their swords or their 3D printed item or whatever, and then they start hitting the artist alley, and then they're like, man, I wish I would have brought more money or this, that, and the other, and so you're left standing out there like a kid at the candy store with his nose pressed against the glass, like, oh, I wish I had that. I'd like to have that candy bar. Those type things. And because, they're sitting there telling you, oh, well, and sometimes they'll stop at your booth first and say, oh, I wish I brought more money. And then they disappear and then they walk by with a, $300 sword or, whatever. And, well, thanks. That's why I do voice actors, voiceovers, and things of that nature. Because we can go in any direction that you really want. If you need a more sensible type of voice out there, we can get that as well. We can start talking in more monotones. Or we can get excited! All kinds of different things. But no, that's why we like voice acting. Because you don't have to show your face. You can be right here, still acting out that scene of running. Those type things. But yes. No, life is just full of getting back on track sometimes. And, you know, and that's where, getting back on track, getting back into the whole comic book conventions and stuff like that in 2026 is going to come into play as well. But with that being said, I've got to get stuff ordered. Uh, that's why I'm looking for sponsors as well. You know, because I can put your name on my table cover. I can put your name on my banners and things like that. You know, and that's why I'm looking for those corporations and things like that um, that want to sponsor someone out there, just because that helps offset the cost of going to the shows. Instead of me spending the $400 or $500 for a table, the corporation that's sponsoring you pays that price. You know, and they get their name out there to the masses. So, see, unfortunately, it doesn't show me the likes right there. I don't think, unless I do this little button here. Let me see. I'm checking something out. Um, da, 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 da. I'm looking here. It's not showing me that. It's just showing me any gifts that I get. Well, I appreciate it, sir. I saw that come through. That's very kind of you, sir. And we will get those ordered for you on those shirts. I'll be able to tell you after the show how many likes I had, because that's where I get to see all that. Right now, I don't get to see all the different likes. I mean, I see the likes coming through 100%. And I know it shows on your end how many that you've sent, which is much appreciated on that, because that does help push us out there to the masses. And, you know, talk about comic books and movies and shirts and all the cool shirts that we've got coming down the pike, you know, as we flip through here, all the different shirts that are coming available. I should have that Wonder Woman in house today, hopefully today or tomorrow. Uh, one of those two uh, spots. And so I'll be able to show it boom, 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 like this for the person that ordered it. And so, yes, Mr. Kirkholt, I saw that. And I do appreciate it. Like I said, I will get those shirts ordered and I will get them either shipped out to you or we'll have a time to say, hey, let's meet up, you know, because it takes a little bit to get here after the order. But since that one's been ordered before, all they got to do is take it straight into print form and done. So, Mr. Stan Lee, is that the comic genius you're talking about? Because yes, I did meet Mr. Stan Lee back in '97, and cool guy. I mean, really, really good guy. Um, Now that's only his persona that he projects whenever he's meeting the people. No, you're good, Kirk. I appreciate you, brother. Um, we'll get those ordered up, and like I said, since it's a shirt that's been ordered before, all they've got to do is put it on the shirts and go. Now, what color of shirts do you want? Do you want just solid black, or do you want a color? Because I can put it on any color shirt you want. Just let me know. Yeah, Stan Lee is a good dude. If I had the box here close, I would grab it, but I don't. It's in the library. But I had a convention box that I used to take with me to different conventions back in the '90s, and he's front and center on this box, signed. You know, he's one of the unfortunately passed away people on this box because Michael Turner is on the box, um, Stephen Hughes is on the box. All have passed away. Uh, Two of them from cancer, one from age. You know, Stan Lee was the oldest on the box. Stephen Hughes was taken way too soon. I think he was in his 40s. And then Michael Turner was only in his 30s, I believe, whenever he passed away of cancer. So, um, but I've got several, unfortunately, people that have passed away on that convention box that I used to take from '96 until just early 2000. I think was the last time I used that box. So I only used it for a few years out there, 3 or 4, probably 4, if I had to guess, before I just found other means of taking comic books or just buying books there at the show uh, to get signed and things of that nature. But that's the cool feature about being in the '90s. You didn't have to pay for autographs back then, as you do now, and that's why I've got so many free sketches on my wall back here. You know, uh, from Stephen Hughes, that very top one. He's no longer with us from Chaos Comics. Made Lady Death who she is today, right there. And so, you know, they they paved the way for people like me to do what I'm doing in creating comic book artwork and things of that nature. So So I applaud them. Now, some of these people weren't great people outside of the persona that they projected. So I can't, applaud their entire life. I can applaud certain aspects of their life, because they did have a great presence when it came to their fans, and the audiences that they spoke to. So, and that's everybody. Not everybody's going to have that loving personality behind the scenes. You're going to have some of the greatest people out there um, that are that show a good face. Like right here, you don't know what I'm like on the backside of this camera, you know, because I have my anger issues. My PTSD kicks in full swing sometimes, and I lose my temper real easy sometimes. Should I? No, I definitely should not. But it happens, and I hate it when it happens. You know, and life choices that I've done in my life aren't the greatest. You know, and I've talked about them in a testimony when I was with my now ex-wife. You know, after we went through different programs together to get back on track, with our marriage. But it only lasted a short while after we got back on track. Because why? Things on both sides of the fence slip back into, you know, um, their old habits. And from there, we just realized we couldn't live together anymore. And so we called it quits. Well, I called it quits. She wasn't happy about it, but she had a lot of issues that she hadn't worked through yet. A lot of issues she wouldn't even talk to me about, even though she called me the love of her life and things like that. So, yes, old tapes are hard to delete 100%. That's why you just toss them in the fire and let it go. You know, not saying go burn things down. Don't get me there. Um, but yes, no, they can be, because you can get trapped in that endless loop cycle. Watch it, rewind, watch it again, rewind, watch it again, rewind to a point, watch it from there, rewind it all the way back. Just like they used to say, please be kind, rewind, on all of the cassette tapes that you used to get from the movie rental stores. And now your movie rental stores are on streaming devices. All the movie stores of the day are all gone. That's why you have vintage stock out there. Who I'm just going to tell you guys, you have way too many movies out there in your store. Cut half of them and go with more cool stuff. There, that's my opinion on vintage stock. I don't know if you guys have a vintage stock down there where you guys are or not, but we have vintage stocks all over Arkansas. They are a cool little store. Not as cool as Hastings used to be here in town, but they have your records, they have your CDs, they have comic books, they have action figures, they've got statues, they've got swords, they've got tons and tons of movies in DVD form. So it's just they have way too many of those, and uh, they need to cut their stock in about half, because who really buys DVDs anymore? Because heck, even Redbox used to buy DVDs like crazy from Walmart, and now they're out of business. You know, so and it's just like not many people buy DVDs anymore for the house because streaming. I can stream this. Yeah, I might not be able to get it for free, but I can rent it for $2.99. And that's better than buying it for $10 or whatever. But I still have DVDs here at the house. I've got a ton of those zip binders full of DVDs, and it's just like, well, when are you ever gonna watch them? Never. You know, it's all stuff that I bought in the 2000s to now, and it's just like, when are you ever gonna watch them? Never. Really, it's never, because I haven't popped those open in forever. I think we looked for a movie that we thought we might have had just the other day, but they can't delist your disc. This is true. This is true. And you're not going to find every movie that you want out there on streaming devices either. And sometimes it's even hard to find the movie that you're looking for on DVD. You know, and because they only made so many copies of it, and from there, sometimes it's near impossible to find. You know, there's a few guys on TikTok that have this huge movie collection when it comes to DVDs, and that's all they talk about. People are asking them, "Do you have this movie? Do you have this movie? Do you have this movie?" You know, Remember the disc before beta movies? Are you talking about the laser discs, or there was something else? Because laser discs were all the rage, out there. He had this big record that played on a laser disc only. It was before laser. Okay. I can't remember what it's called, but yes, beta to VHS, whatever it was before Laserdisc to Laserdisc, and then to CDs and DVDs. I can't remember what it's called. I have to look that up. Because I've seen they're in antique stores too. There's a big one in up in Fayetteville that has some, and I'm trying to remember what they're called. Again, I'd have to look it up, so I can't remember what it's called. But yes, I have seen them as well. But the laser disc was supposed to be the next big thing, and then it just died out off like the dinosaur, pretty quick, you know. But the others like Beta didn't last very long either, and then that one before Laserdisc didn't last very long either. It was just so expensive, to buy the disc and stuff like that at the time. And now we think, $15 is too much for a movie. Whenever you were spending like $40 or $50 on a laser disc back in the day, you know. And then that one before, like I said, I can't think of what it's called, but I have seen them. Um, and I've only seen like two in my lifetime, you know, because I didn't have that type of stuff growing up. I saw it, but and to see it in person was pretty cool. But it's just like the projection screen TVs, that had the three bulbs in the back and all that good stuff. And these things weighed like 800 pounds, just to move around in your own front room. But yeah, no, it's technology changes so fast. Well, cool. That's awesome, Casey. We had HBO. We had just the tube TV. We didn't have one of the big projection TVs, like that. And I know several people that had the projection TV because they were cool. They were the thing to have, you know. And we just had the standard uh, big tube TV in the console, those type things. Until they switched it down to without the console size and just the big tube TV. So yeah, not many pixels. Yeah, super heavy. Yeah, they were dinosaurs. I mean, in their own rights. I mean, I think somebody actually dug one of those up, and that's how they created them. Um, as far as, hey, this will be a cool design. Let's make it as heavy as possible. No, definitely not a sharp. It was fuzzy, but it was a cool. I mean, if you watched it from a distance, it looked super cool, But if you were up close on it, it was like kind of like my recording up here as opposed to here, because up here it's fuzzy, down here it's super sharp. I've got VHS going on up here while I have 4K Ultra right here. So that's the difference in it all. And but yeah, if you got up close to those big projection TVs, it was just like, whoo, that's pretty bad. But then you step back, 40, 50 feet if you had that type of room, and you're watching it from the hallway. Oh, that's perfect, you know. So, but yeah, no, that's something we didn't have at the house. We just had the tube TVs, and then heck, I didn't even have a TV in my own room. Whenever I moved outside, it was all music playing on a regular basis. So, so yeah, that was cool. Normally, I'm seeing the sun popping up, but I ain't seeing the sun popping up yet. I mean, I can start seeing the difference in the color of the sky. So, and it's almost 6 o'clock now. We've been on a while. I like to see the new projections for the wall, etc. Like a drive-in. Yeah, they're making some pretty cool stuff. And I mean, heck, you can get you a 85-inch TV for your wall for next to nothing right now. I think Sam's Clubs has them for with a like $100 discount. You're getting it for like $698 or something like that from its normal $800 price. So, but no, I've got a projection TV or a projection screen that I can stream stuff through. And we've done some movie nights outside, a couple different ones, and that's pretty cool. Excuse me, because it came with the big 150-inch screen that you can project onto. So you just gotta have a lot more darkness than we have because there's a security light on the street up here, and then there's a security light in my backyard, basically from OG&E, which I'm thinking about getting mine cut, 100%. But all right, folks, I gotta go start taking care of some aminal chores and things of that nature. But I do appreciate each and everybody being here. I do. You guys are the best. You guys are what makes the show. Casey, you're awesome. I appreciate all your input, all of your knowledge. Kirk Holt, you are an awesome dude out there as well. I appreciate your knowledge and your support. Um, Top of the day to you. It's getting there. It's about to be topped. But I do appreciate each and everybody being here, stopping in, checking out the channel, talking comic books, talking uh, movies, talking, the old technology from back in the day. And you guys are great. You guys are awesome. But as I like to say, as I leave you guys, before I get out of here, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.